Hello everyone, my name is Clantis and welcome to the Clan. So without further ado, let's get into this video. But before we get into the video, please smash the like button for me, guys. And you have not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and so that you can be part of this honorable clan. So let's get into the video. Anyways, guys, let's get into the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. Now that I have explained and cleared the air about why we do what we are doing, in fact, my colleague is now clearer as to what is happening. She even apologized, like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I think I've been stupid all this time, because I watch and I'm like, why is it doing that? Now she gets it. So anyways, Advocate Mngomezulu continued with the witness on the stand currently, which is James Radebe, who is still lying through his teeth. By the way, I realized as he was busy with his testimony today, I'm like, now it makes sense why he was the best candidate and why he was taken all the way from Northwest to Gauteng to do this job. And I keep wondering to myself, was there nobody in Gauteng, particularly in Johannesburg or the East Rand, who could have done exactly what Radebe and Umboto could have done? Of course, as I've said, guys, these two men that were chosen by Gininda are perfect, because why? They know all the tactics of how to torture somebody without any evidence shown. Like, they know those tactics. The newly trained police officers have absolutely no idea. And even if they were told to do this, they would have ratted on Gininda. But the old school guys, they were well taught and also loyal to the cause, or whatever the cause is. So that is why they went and called. And particularly Mbata. Mbata is a good liar. The way he speaks, if you are not paying close attention, you would even say, oh, shame, this old man is telling the truth, guys. But that's the whole point. The whole point is to create a seed of doubt in anybody that's listening to him, that maybe he's telling the truth. He's not telling the truth. He's lying through his teeth. And the cross-examination today cleared all of that. He makes too many mistakes, and then he comes and says, it's a human error mistake. And I'm thinking, that is correct what Advocate Mngomezulu reminded him of, that this is a life of a human being. So your human error is affecting another life. And then I did hear some kind of pause there for him. I think for a moment he had a sense of humanity, but he thought, you know what, I am going to hold on to this dry bone till the end, and I will keep saying the perform, the perform, the perform, the perform throughout. That's what he was saying. Because he is a pathological liar. Zungu in an old man body. It was quite interesting when Advocate Mngomezulu asked him to give in verbatim the meaning of confession in isiZulu. How did he translate the word confession? And already the way he did it, I was like, no, sir, all you have to say is ukvuma. That's it. But then he went on and I'm like, what are you talking about? That is not a confession in isiZulu. That's not it. But anyways, that's what he said. And Mngomezulu did not press. He just put it on record that this man does not know the word confession he said is Zulu, and he's very fluent in isiZulu and conversant in Zulu, but he doesn't know the word confession in isiZulu. Simple. Yes, I know there is another one, which is a bigger one, which is uklambuluka, like nyahlambuluka. He could have used that, but the easiest one, he could have said ukvuma. That's it. Ngiyavuma ukuthi yimi engenze 1 2 3. I admit, or I confess that this is me who did this. Ukuhlambuluka is more like almost cleansing your soul of the guilt. There's another very interesting and important question that Advocate Mngomezulu asked Mr. Mbata, and I will read it. He said, would you agree in paragraph 1 where Brigadier Gininda contacted you to do an investigation in the pointing out conduct? He said, if you can assist me in my case, but you did not specify, correct? He said, yes, correct. However, he did not intentionally mean to omit that part in the performer. I'm like, how convenient. How many more mistakes and omissions is this man going to continue making corrections under oath? And then Advocate Mngomezulu pressed on about his knowledge of the case, that he knew what this case was about. He said no, he did not know what the case was about. All that he was doing was to do a job that he was asked by Brigadier Ginindi to do for him. And in my mind, I'm thinking there is no way that he didn't know that this was in relation to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. There is no way that you're going to drive all the way from Northwest, instructed by Brigadier Ginindi, who would just say, hey, I have a pointing out for you to do for me. It's in Alberton and all of that. And then he doesn't ask what does it involve, or they have a conversation what this pointing out is about, because there is no way Ginindi would not have told him that it is about the death of Senzo Meyiwa. We have caught people that now we want one of them for you to go and do a point out for us. And I don't think that conversation ended there. I think the instructions was, hey, because you got the apartheid training, you know what to do with this particular suspect. And we know that he has not done this, but you're going to abstract a confession and make him admit to something he did not do. Anyways, he's a drug pusher. So we arrested him for drug pushing, but you are going to pin the death of Senzo Meyiwa when he does a confession, when you do the confession with him. And then, of course, he was more than happy to do something like that and ruin a human life altogether. But he wants us to understand when he makes a human error on his documents. And it was quite interesting to hear how he was maneuvering himself and evading Mngomezulu's questions about the charge. He was charged with drugs. So when you were taking him to go point out, what exactly were you thinking he's going to point out? Because you know that he's there for drug. And he says, yes, that's what the suspect had told him, that he was arrested on a charge of drugs. So now, aren't you asking yourself questions as a person who's well experienced with pointing out? Number two, who's been a police officer for all these years and also justice of the peace? Why wouldn't you ask further questions like, okay, before I sit down with you, I want to ask you the following questions. Are you charged? What are you charged with? When were you arrested? Have you seen a magistrate? And what was the outcome? No, he says he did not see the necessity of doing all those things. Another cronier. And the question I was asking myself, are they watching each other when they take the stand? Because they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to watch the proceedings. But the way he was answering, he reminded me so much of Cronier's testimony as well. But of course, you can tell that this man is so well rehearsed by whoever that coached him to say the things that he does. But I don't think he needed any coaching. The guy, he's just a natural liar. I think that's why he got this job. And then Advocate Mngomezulu wanted to know his knowledge about the death of Senzo Meyiwa. When or where did he find out? He said he found out on television. And then when he was brought the suspect, doesn't he think that there's a conflict with the information that he already knew about Senzo Meyiwa? And he jumped and said, no, I had very little information about the death of Senzo Meyiwa. And besides, I didn't even know that the suspect was actually brought for me to do the point of conduct because of the death of Senzo Meyiwa. In my mind, I'm like, really, sir? I don't believe you, because if Ginindi didn't tell you, the Alberton police station police would have told you why they refuse to sign for his release. They would have told you why they refuse to have anything to do with this particular suspect, because it has everything and anything to do with the death of Senzo Meyiwa. They would have told him, whether through gossip or through official telling him. But of course, he cannot say those things there, because why? It will be hearsay. But there's no way that he didn't know that the suspect that he was going to take from the cell was a person that is accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa. I refuse to believe that he didn't know that. I refuse. He reminds me of the first responders at the Senzo Meyiwa murder crime scene. You remember they said that the man that they found, the whom now we know is Temba Kumalo, did not tell them who was the person that got shot in the house. They were lying. They knew very well. That is why they went to the hospital to see him with their own eyes, because the man they used to see on television. And now here he is lying on a slab, dead. And the other part that I was having an issue with is that, okay, all the police at Alberton police station don't want to touch this particular suspect. They don't want to open the cell. They don't want to hand him over. You are playing two roles at the same time. You are playing the role of a police officer as well as the role of a justice of the peace. And then now you take the keys and then your own witness. You have no witnesses. It's just you who is your own witness doing all that work. And you're going back to the charge office to sign out for the suspect. And then you have a officer by the surname of Baloyi who refuses with the suspect. But anyway, I'm like, what exactly is going on in the subs, people? Are police officers allowed to refuse with the suspect when an investigation is undergoing? Unless then this Baloyi officer, who probably is a station commander, did not get any brief from Gininda like, hey, there's somebody that's going to come over to pick the suspect for pointing out, or whatever the case was. But I still believe that everybody in Alberton police station knew who this suspect was and what was he accused of. There is no way they did know that. They've known this since the 30th of May 2020. And now it's the 5th of June 2020. He's still not charged. He still hasn't seen the magistrate. Just exactly like accused number 2. And then you are telling me that this so-called confession is going to be admissible in court after hearing all of this? I do not think so. Right now, we're just doing the formalities of the performer, since he loves mentioning the performer. There was a time where there was a statement that was, once again, hidden from the state. And that's because Advocate Mnisi, when Advocate Ngomezulu was done with his cross-examination, was trying to cross-examine the witness about the only mistake that Mnisi made, or maybe he did it deliberately, was to say, I think it was the statement about him being a witness, if he attached that to the performer. And he said, yes, he had attached that statement on the performer. And then Mnisi said, unfortunately, that statement was not discovered to me by the state. I was like, what? Wait a minute, what's going on? And then Advocate Baloyi stood up, and then you could tell that he was like a head without he was a chicken without a head. And then it turned out that all the defense lawyers did not have that statement discovered to them. And now we had to take an adjournment for 20 minutes because Advocate Ngomezulu requested from the judge if they could have 20 minutes of recess while they get this statement from the state, whom the state now suddenly has. Is holding and then the judge is trying to rescue Baloyi, says, but here it is. And then they're like, yeah, it's only coming now. Once again, Advocate Baloyi is caught with his pants down, trying to hide information from the defense. And then I was like, I remember Judge Rata scathing on the defense when Advocate Mnisi accused the state of not discovering all documents to the defense. And then Rata came with a judgment and he was scathing on them and even said he does not believe that Advocate Baloyi would jeopardize his career that he has built over the years to for something like hiding documents from from the defense. It's against the law for the state not to discover all information to the state. And Advocate Baloyi will never jeopardize his career like that. Here we are today. And then this judge says absolutely nothing. Instead, he adjourns the court and quickly runs out. And I'm like, but you should have asked Advocate Baloyi some reprimanding questions. Possibly even lodging a complaint against Advocate Baloyi and say this advocate keeps bringing evidence in drips and drabs, just like Mnisi had said prior. No, even when they come back, the judge does not look at Mr. Baloyi and say, can you stop doing that? No. And I still say this judge is friends with the state. This case, this entire trial is an unfair trial. Both the trial within a trial and the main trial, they are all unfair trials. And it is clear that the mandate is to pin the death of Senzo Meyiwa on 5 innocent people and then exonerate all the people that were with Senzo Meyiwa on the 26th of October 2014. One of them killed Senzo Meyiwa. I'm talking about the 6 or 7 people that were with Senzo Meyiwa in 2014, not the men that stand accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa. So I wish that I had something tangible to tell you in this video about what actually transpired, except to tell you that this witness, after that 20-minute recess, which I think ended up being like 40 minutes recess, he kept coming and say, referring to the performer, It was just the performer. Every question that he was asked, he was referring to the performer. At this stage, I was thinking that Advocate Ngomezulu or Advocate Mnisi, why don't you just quote from the Constitution and shut this performer out? Because the performer is not above the Constitution. And the accused number one's constitutional rights were violated to begin with, and themselves admit to that indeed the suspect was not taken to court, was not charged, and all of these things. And then that's it. You end it there. The fact that this man, accused number one, has not seen a courtroom since he was arrested on the 30th of May to the 5th of June, that spells 48 hours expired a long time ago. Stick on the 48 hours and then have this entire matter dismissed from this trial within a trial. And then let's get back to the main trial. And then that too, because now what we have learned from the trial within a trial, that how the state has been violating the constitutional rights of all the suspects, then just dismiss this entire case and get the people that were with Senzo Meyiwa on the 26th of October 2014. One of them killed Senzo Meyiwa. I'm standing on that. I'm not doubtful whatsoever. I get the tricks that Baloyi is coming with that is making some of us to be like, no, Mina, I am unshaken or moved from this position I'm on, that there are 6 or 7 people that were with Senzo Meyiwa on the 26th of October 2014. One of them pulled the trigger. I don't know if you guys saw the viral pictures of Longa Twala. They're quite sad, I must say. I did look at them. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is sad. And then how are we also going to get the truth out of Longwe when he's in this situation? And how fair is that to the men that stand accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa when one of the eyewitnesses is in the situation that he's in right now? What is the state doing to try and force the family to get him cleaned and get him back in his sound and sober mind so that he can come and take the stand, so that this trial is fair to the people that stand accused? The only time that Longwe can get away, or the state can get away with Longwe taking the stand, is if Longwe guy does the over D thing. You know, I cannot say it on YouTube. You know, when you take too much of anything, you are, yes, unless he does that and then he offs himself from that particular over D, then then Longwe is not going to take the stand and possibly will never hear the truth as to who killed Senzo Meyiwa. Possibly it could be him. But me, when I ran my 2 IQs together, he went to the Kumano house angry because he did not was not able to contact his girlfriend, whom later on discovered that there was another man that was in the same house as Senzo, as Kweli Kumalo and Zandile, which is his girlfriend, sleeping under the same roof. And I heard during testimony that that house in Alberton is a 2-bedroom house. And then the question in my mind was like, who slept in the living room? Who slept on the couch? Who slept in the bedroom? You know, those sort of things. And then, of course, these things could have driven Longwe absolutely insane and blinded him with anger, and possibly took a pistol or went to Sutu Hostel where he met with Gwabini and say, I need that thing because I need to go sort out something. And that's what had happened. That is just me and my 2 IQs. I'm not saying it happened, but that is my 2 IQs and I'm sticking to it. So Advocate Mnisi then kind of like pressed the button on Hadebe about his experience. He says that he's been to 4 point outs before. And Advocate Mnisi says that that's not enough experience for you to claim that you are experienced in pointing out exercise and things like that. But he says he disagreed with Mnisi. So about the newly discovered statement of course, when we came back from break, because they were given until 2 o'clock, from 12 midday to 2 o'clock, to kind of like familiarize themselves with the statement that was hidden from the defense. And when they came back, Advocate Mngomezulu got up and said, okay, there is a newly discovered statement that he would like to cross-examine on. And of course, the judge said, rightfully so, let Advocate Mnisi continue with his cross-examination, and in his cross-examination, when the statement comes by, that's when we will deal with the statement, and if you are going to re-cross-examine the witness. And of course, Advocate Mngomezulu sat down, and I thought that was a very smart move, that he kind of like rattles the court and remind them that we haven't forgotten about the newly discovered document that the state had hidden from the defense. But anyways, Advocate Mnisi got up but did not come back to the newly discovered statement. I think this is going to be an ace up the defense team, because I think there is something in that statement that Advocate Mngomezulu is going to punch on, either during arguments or with this particular witness. It was quite interesting as well during Mnisi's cross-examination of the witness about the time. That he was not recording the time, he was not recording things, and he was not saying them on the performer, that he kept like to say. And then he says, no, he was not leaving this information out intentionally. In my mind, I'm like, no, you are lying because you did not want the timeline to be worked out in court when you have to testify. That is why you deliberately left out the time and recording it on the performer. He says, well, there was no space for this. Too many excuses. You know, when you make excuses, you also lie in between. That is why I think this guy was the perfect candidate, because he's a liar. A professional liar. When Advocate Mngomezulu asked the witness how was he going to determine the time frame of everything that he has done with the suspect, he says, well, I did not have space to record that on the performer. However, the only way to determine the time was when he testifies in court. I'm like, does he understand that the court works with facts as well as the law? Now, how do we prove that as evidence? Because you are telling us with your mouth, we don't see any facts about what you are saying. Then it came to the part about Brigadier Ginindi, that he was present during the pointing out. And he said, no, Ginindi was not present during the pointing out. Then he said, but the suspect talks about some Sergeant Mahanu. And I'm like, oh, here comes another one that we need to call on the stand and find out some few things about what transpired on the 5th of June 2020. So basically, Khatebe denies that Mahanu or Ginindi was present or near the pointing out. But of course, the suspect accused number one says Mahanu was there. So now, of course, was this done freely and voluntarily on the side of the accused number one? No, because he sees all these people that are there to oversee that indeed he is assaulted, that indeed his tubing is done on him, that indeed he makes the confession so that he can collect that document and then goes away and creates this case for Baloyi. And then it came to the escort. How was the escort like? He says, no, they were escorted by 2 EMPD vehicles. And then Mngomezulu wanted to know from the witness, didn't you see the bus that was full of members of the CRC? He said, no, he did not see it. I don't think he's telling the truth there. But hey, I think that is going to be, is it TRT, not CRC? Members of the TRT, where is it CRC or TRT? Please comment down below. Correct me. I don't know all these terminologies when it comes to our so-called police. The witness Khatebe was then given the history about accused number one's assault, where it all started and where it all ended. And another particular question that Advocate Mngomezulu asked the witness was about what did he say while they were traveling, what notes was he writing. He said that he was quiet, he was not saying anything. Now suddenly he was actually giving directions to Vosloorus, the entry into Vosloorus. I was like, what exactly was happening in that vehicle? Did accused number one say anything or didn't he say anything? Because Advocate Mngomezulu wanted to know how did they know the direction to the entry of Vosloorus. Now suddenly it was him who was directing them. Now he's saying this when it is Advocate Mnisi that's questioning him about, I think they did it deliberately. I think Advocate Zulu as well as Mnisi wanted to see the consistency, particularly about this trip to Vosloorus, or the entry to Vosloorus, because he said nothing. He was not writing any notes when they were traveling with him. But now suddenly he was giving directions to the driver to the entry of Vosloorus. And the reason why he's saying that is because Advocate Zulu said, how did you get to the entry of Vosloorus? And then he said, no, the driver was driving. And then it's like, but then did the suspect give you direction like 10 here, 10 there, and 10 here? He said, no, we just went there. And then he says, oh yeah, now I see where we at. I'm familiar with the area. Now suddenly he's the one who is giving directions. What's happening? So I think that inconsistency has been recorded. Then, of course, Advocate Zulu made a small little error about the assault itself, especially the one that took place in Deep Kloof, where is it Deep Kloof? Yeah, Deep Kloof, where he said that he was assaulted in the presence of Mboto, when in fact he had said that Mboto had said that he was assaulted when in the office in Deep Kloof station. They only stopped when Mboto entered, and then Mboto told the suspect, or the accused number one, that if you don't sign this document, I'm going to leave this man to continue to beat you. So that is the correction that he needed to make. This was after the break. Okay, guys, maybe I misunderstood him in his evidence in chief, where he said that the pictures, you know, the photos that were taken of accused number one, that when they were in the interview room, didn't he say that pictures of him and accused number one were taken? I'm not quite sure if I heard clearly. He said in the interview room, this is what I heard. In the interview room, the photographer took pictures of him and the accused in the interview room. And then the next picture, it's him basically facing him and the photographer, taking pictures of him while dressed, taking pictures of him when he was half naked. And then pictures when he was facing the opposite direction, meaning to expose his back for injuries. Did Mnisi and I hear differently? Because I think Mnisi was on the money there when he asked about the picture of him and the accused sitting and doing this performer. And then, of course, the witness denied that he ever said that. I was like, then they need to go to the hindsight and listen to it again, because I think that's exactly what he said. I think he said to him and the suspect, him facing them and the photographer, and him facing away from the away from them as they were taking the pictures of his back. So Advocate Mnisi wanted to know then why that picture was not taken. He said that the reason why that picture was not taken, he did not want the photographer to be in and out, because if he's in and out, he'll be part and parcel of the interview. And I'm thinking, but you need to stop the interview and have a picture taken. You know, you pose and say, look what we're doing our job. He's confessing and I'm taking the photos. And you know, that's not, he was like, no, there was no necessity for the photographer to be in and out, but you want to do due diligence so that we come to the court and then you testify on facts. So then Advocate Mnisi then went for the jugular and said the reason why you did not do what you needed to do regarding the photography is because it's indicative of your experience, which got the judge jumping himself and started defending the witness. But anyways, Advocate Mnisi did put across his point that this particular witness had no experience whatsoever in taking confessions. So the judge, when he tried to basically defend the witness, he was asking about if the whole photography thing is statutory. And then Advocate Mnisi said, no, it's conventional that photos are taken of the suspect as well as the justice of the peace, so to show that indeed this did transpire. I'm not quite sure what the judge was trying to do there, but I understand if it's done universally, that means it's something that needs to be done because it's part of the facts. The only thing that I took from Advocate Nxumalo's questioning was about the date of arrest, that he was arrested on the 30th of May 2020, and he was never brought before a court. When he saw him on the 5th of June, he still has not seen a magistrate and all of that stuff. And he asked him if he knew that. He said no, he did not know that the suspect had not seen a court within 48 hours. I thought that was good enough for me and for him as well to go and ponder about that all this exercise that he's busy doing right now, it's all gone through the window, because that is a constitutional right of accused number 1 to be brought before a court after being charged within 48 hours. And that did not transpire. Just like with accused number 2, he was not brought before the court within 48 hours. Of course, this entire exercise of the trial within a trial of these two individuals, they are not going to be admissible, because once again, the section 35 of the Constitution were violated. So here we go. Well, guys, that is it with what transpired at the North Gauteng High Court. If you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyways, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to click the bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody super thanking the channel and supporting it financially. I highly appreciate you guys so much. YouTubers, when you say the word financially, you will see your ads. You know what I'm talking about. If you're a YouTuber and you're monetized, you know what I'm talking about when I do this. So use the word finance in your channel. Anyways, guys, leave me a comment down below and don't forget to also like other YouTubers' videos and also subscribe to the channel and also share this video far and wide. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time with a new video. Goodbye.